awesome.
Just curious, if you could talk about starting out, promoting your work, maybe crazy things you tried or awesome things that worked, whatever along those lines, you know where we photo stalkers are trying to find an audience.
Oh, well, there's no, I mean, other people can chime in on this too, Thomas or whatever, but there's no secret one thing that I did. You know, basically it's just creating stuff that I think is interesting. And then sharing it as many places as possible. Just because I like people to see it, not at all because I want to get popular, but I just like it when people see my stuff. And you know, 2 people seeing a photo I made is better than 1 person, and 10 people is better than 5. And, you know, it's never ending. I just like to share, and if it's interesting enough, then eventually the internet will discover you. And I think you can see that with countless photographers now on Google+. Like, for example, this guy that we had on 2 weeks ago, Jaime Lara, he had been known to a very small group of people, really, you know, several thousand, let's say. But everyone really knew his work and respected it. And he just keeps churning it out. He doesn't do any big publicity stunts. I never did any big publicity stunts. You just keep churning it out, and then eventually the network and the internet discovers you, and they start resharing your work, and then everyone gets to know you. That's how now everyone knows this Elena Collis gal, this girl that shoots these photos underwater. You know, before Google+, and for years she's just been taking amazing photos underwater, and she's been known to a small group of people, but now she's known to almost everybody. So anyway, I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years. I'm sure Thomas has been doing it for 5 or 6 years. And it's just, it comes slowly over time. It's you know, you're like a frog boiling in your own water. You don't even know. And you can look back, and it looks like a big master plan, of course, but really it's not. It's nothing of the sort.
The one thing I would add, and I agree with all of that, Trey, is I do think when there's new technology that comes out, it's good to embrace it early. Like you and I were both on Google Plus like day one. You know, and I think a lot of people, like I remember, who was it? I think it was Scott Bourne or somebody wrote something about, oh, don't get on Google Plus, it's dangerous or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of like
Google will steal all your photos.
And oh my God, Google wants to steal all our photos and run the largest stock agency in the world.
All your photos belong to us.
No, but it's, you know, I think a lot of times people are kind of like resistant to join. Oh, I don't want to join another site. I don't want to join that. But I think like I was really early on Twitter, and I was really early on Flickr, you know, and as soon as I find out about a site like Google Plus, you know, boom, I was on it. And I think sometimes being on sites early sort of lets you build an audience earlier.
Well, you're already there when everybody else comes flooding in. You're the one. You're there to be followed.
Yeah, I just think, you know, I think keep an open mind, and if something new's coming along, before you say, well, oh, that's terrible, or I'm going to wait to see if that catches on, just jump in with both feet.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Okay, there's some other questions here. Here's another one. Question: when you are photographing something, do you ever find that you miss out on the experience because you're taking photos? I found this while whale watching. I had to stop and take in the experience personally. Yeah. That's Julie Jameson.
You know, a good example of that would be the NASA launch, too, when Trey did the shuttle launch, because I did one of those, and I had the struggle between taking my video and watching the rocket go off, and you don't get a second shot at it.
Is anybody gonna say anything? I don't think I miss out on anything when I take photos. I still see everything. If I couldn't see it, I wouldn't be able to take a picture.
That's true.
Yeah. I get freaked out, like if I can't take my camera somewhere.
Right?
Like I won't even go. Like my brother says, let's go to this concert. And I'm like, well, if I can arrange a photo credit ahead of time, yeah, I'll go. But if I can't take my camera, I have no interest. It could be the greatest band in the world. I mean, for me, part of the experience, the fundamental part of the experience is the photograph. is being there with the camera.
Yeah, it's really shitty when you can't take your camera somewhere, or where some event or whatever tells you can't take a camera.
I get freaked out. I just won't go. I just won't go to anything. If I can't bring my camera, I won't go.
Interesting.
Yeah. See, I like, I think it's yes and no. Like, I would much prefer to have my camera anywhere I go, but I find that every vacation I take, or every photo trip, or every assignment that I go on, if I'm there for an extended period of time, I'm always trying to find at least a small amount of time or a day at the most to just leave my camera behind. Like when I was in Italy, I had one day where I had already been in one location for like 3 days, and we just had about the morning and part of the afternoon before we had to go on to the next place. So I just left my camera at home and spent time with my wife, and it was nice though, because we went out for breakfast and we had like our cappuccino and all this stuff, and I didn't have to take a picture of it and preserve it, and there was just something kind of beautiful about it. Like I just got to enjoy it and not worry about framing everything in my mind, and I kind of just shut it off, and I definitely wouldn't do that very often, but I think it's nice to every now and then.
But then do you feel like you had to actually leave the camera at home to make yourself not take the photo? Like if you had it with you, you couldn't just say, for this 30 minutes, I'm not going to take a photo.
Oh, yeah. If I had my camera with me. You had to
leave it so you could not do that.
Yeah. I would so break the rule if I had it with me.
Okay.
But you have you have to shut it off.
Hi, everybody.
Gino Brasso wants to know about how to get a photo credit, like if you're unknown for like shoot a band or something. I guess my quick advice to that is getting a photo credit, even if you are known, is a pain in the ass. I mean, basically you have to track down the band's management. I would say if you're not known, find somebody that you can shoot it for, some blog, some anything. Then you just got to hound the band's management or their PR people or whatever, and just keep bothering them and bothering them and bothering them. And if you can't get one that way, the next best thing is to sneak the camera in. So maybe you go with a friend. They have the lens, you have the body. If one of you gets stopped, it's like, oh, it's just a camera body. There's no lens. This is worthless. They've got a lens. Oh, this is just a lens. You check. But like when I shot Radiohead, they didn't allow cameras in there, so I had to sneak one in and couldn't get a photo credit for Radiohead. But I think it's good to ask, and if you can do it ahead of time, you can. But mostly, it's just hounding the band's people. Sometimes you get really lucky, like when we shot Austin City Limits Music Festival, Lotus and I, Dell had arranged full photo passes. So
that was so nice.
Super nice, yeah.
Yeah, I get the best photos from that. I'm already like thinking I have to figure out a way to be able to get that again next year, because it's just gonna suck to know that that's so close to me and that I can't do that again.
Hey, by the way, hi Julie and hi Eric, our two new
Hi.
entrants. How are y'all?
Hello.
Oh, hey, Julie.
Hello.
Hi. I was the one who asked the question about. The only reason I asked that question is because, like I said, I was whale watching one day, and I was taking all these photographs, and the whales actually turned and went directly under our boat. And the reason I wanted to document it with taking photographs, but the reason I wanted to go there was to experience whale watching, to actually really experience. I wanted to document it with my photographs, and my battery actually died on me, and I was forced to put my camera down, and then I just got a completely different experience out of it when I actually put the camera away and was able to sit there and just take it all in. That's the only reason. That's why I was asking that question.
That's definitely interesting.
Can't you also experience it like in Lightroom a couple of days later, though?
Yeah, but that's exactly it. But that's it. I mean, you sit back and you look at those pictures afterwards and you say, "Wow, that was amazing. I was great." And it's there. Like I've documented what I experienced, but that's all in the past now. And just being able to hear them and listen to them. I'm speaking specifically about whale watching, but there's other experiences that you could be, taking photographs of, or just being at a rock concert or whatever the situation is. But I just found that when I'm behind the camera, you get one experience, but when you put that camera away, you get the full experience afterwards.
I think I can appreciate that, but I don't think I could do what Cliff was saying and just not have my camera there at all. Like to not be able to say, now there's this opportunity and I really have to take a photo right now. Like I can see putting it down for a moment and like really just kind of taking in the sights and the sounds and being immersed in that moment and that feeling and just really pulling it all in. But I don't think I could say I'm not going to bring my camera with me, because then I'd be there and I'd see something amazing and I'd think,
Well, yeah.
damn it,
Absolutely.
I don't have my fucking camera with me.
Well, I find that I can also enjoy it while I'm waiting for a shot to, for the right time.
To show up.
Like I was setting up for a shot in Rio Maggiore, and I was waiting for the sun to go down. So while I was there, I went ahead and took the time to set up my camera and get the composition where I wanted and everything like that. And then I could just kind of sit back and relax. And I actually was thinking, like, now I can just kind of take it all in while the light gets right, So yeah, like that didn't require me to put the camera away or anything like that. But I was still able to take everything in and enjoy my surroundings.
So here's another question from the chat room from Macro Size. Question for Trey: what are the essential post-processing steps to do to HDR photos before printing them to make sure they look good on print?
Oh, before printing. Well, that's a whole another shooting match. Here's the thing with printing. I really shouldn't say anything because I'm not an expert on it. Here is a color thing I will talk about. And I got this from Stu Maschwitz. He's a well-known director from Hollywood. And he was out at the NASA thing with me. The weird situation where we had to share a room. And anyway, so it's this... he's like...
Was it a king bed?
There was we stayed at this hotel together called the Faulty Towers, and he couldn't get a room, and so we were friends and we shared a room.
Honeymooner suite.
Yeah. So anyway, as long as we're spending all this time together, we decided to discuss color theory, and he, it was either that or go the direction of Brokeback Mountain. And so we started talking about this stuff because he worked on the Star Wars movies. He was with ILM. He knows he knows and thinks about color differently than me because he comes from the film world. And I'll circle this back to printing in a moment. But anyway, so we talked about color calibration and just like there's the noise police and the focus police, there's also the color calibration police who will tell you how important it is that your color is properly, your monitors are properly calibrated. And if it's not properly calibrated, then you're not a real photographer. All this sort of stuff. It's nonsense that's out there. Even though 99.9% of the people that see your photo, they don't have color calibrated monitors. Anyway, this is why actually Photoshop has this default gray background. For years, I actually changed it to black because I liked how photos looked with a black border better while I was processing it. But now, for the past year or so, I've had this gray background because as long as you have this neutral gray, there's something about this neutral gray that if all the colors look good and all the light levels look good against that neutral gray, the print will come out looking pretty darn good. As long as your personal monitor is not so far off the reservation when it comes to blues and reds and yellows and greens, your final print will come out looking all right. So there is here's a suggestion I have. So I print now many different places, but one place I started printing is on SmugMug. And when you run a print off SmugMug, there's a little checkbox you can do. And it adds $1 to the order or whatever. And their technicians that are sitting there by the printer, they'll calibrate everything for you. And they'll look at the photo, and they'll look at what you sent them, and they'll just kind of make it look awesome. I don't know any other way to say it other than that they do this all the time, and probably they know what you're going for, and they'll probably give you something that's really, really good. I think that's one of the best systems going, other than printing it all yourself, which is fine as well. And that's something I know nothing about.
And the nice thing about SmugMug is if you do that and you don't like it, they'll just run another print for you for free.
Geez, you sound like you're trying to get a job there.
Maybe.
So here's another question for Trey or Thomas. How do you choose the pictures you guys daily upload? Is it randomly, or do you upload in the same order as you process the pictures?
That's a good question.
Trey,
You go first. You go first, Thomas.
Okay, I've got a folder of about 9,000 photographs right now that I like, and I just kind of each day I just kind of like browse through it and pick something that like feels right, that it's strikes my fancy that day, and I'll just upload it. And I upload 5 a day, so usually upload one right when I get up in the morning, like at 5 or 6, and then another one like at 9 or 10, and another one at noon. Try to space them out. Another one in the afternoon, and then one at night.
And those 9,000, they're fully edited and ready to go?
Yeah, fully edited and processed. I processed probably about like 85,000 photographs. And so, and of those, I probably got like 62,000 or so on Flickr. And I've got a reserve. And I upload to Flickr every day. Like, I think I'm uploading like 40 to Flickr a day right now. But with Google Plus, I'm more selective. So I've sort of taken what I feel are sort of my strongest 9,000 and put those in a folder, and then I just kind of flip through it and like, okay, well, that looks interesting today, so I'll throw that out. What about you, Trey?
For me, here I'll share my system here so you guys can see what's going on. So I'll show you this would be like a mega quick workflow thing here. I wish I could share my entire. You see, I'm sharing my Lightroom now. What do you guys see? Do you guys see my whole Lightroom, or do you just see?
I just see the one photo.
Yeah, that's the problem with you have to share your desktop to actually see the full screen. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't see my desktop as a shareable option. Like
it's not the first one?
No.
Do you have more than one monitor on the one box?
There's a blank one. I'll try sharing that. This is my Light. First, I'll show you Lightroom, and then I'll show you iPhoto, because I use Lightroom to organize all my photos, to figure out what to process, and then I take my portfolio pieces, the things I'm most proud of, and I put them in iPhoto. The iPhoto is so nice and fast; it syncs with my iPad, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so here in my unprocessed category, I have 52,000 photos, and those are my favorites out of the 150,000 photos I've taken the past few years. So this is all running off this really cool Promise Pegasus Thunderbolt drive. I have access to every photo I've ever taken. It's like it's all in RAM. It's immediate. It's amazing. Anyway, so I take my best photos out of there. I either give them 0 or 5 stars. And then I drop them into unprocessed. And these are all totally out of order. I still have unprocessed stuff from 5 years ago. When I choose processed stuff, I usually choose stuff randomly from the last 5 years. And I process, like today, I processed 55 photos today. I ended up throwing most of them away because they didn't end up being any good. But these are, anyway, that's what I processed today. Then I take it into iPhoto. Let me share my iPhoto. Find it here. Where I used to be iPhoto. Here we go. And then inside here, I have, well, it gets confusing. Okay, but so this is all my unpublished stuff. These are all photos that I've taken and I've never published before. And these are ones that I'll put on the blog sometime in the next, I don't know, year or something like this, right?
Take a screenshot. Quick.
Take a screenshot.
Here's one from Burning Man. I really like.
Oh, wow.
I never published.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've just got a ton in here that I think are interesting.
So you don't really have any. You said you do it completely randomly. You don't have any kind of organizational way to say I'm going to publish them, chronologically or anything like that. You just go in and you just do whatever.
Yeah, I think I do the same thing as Thomas, but I think it's pretty. or interesting, I just post it. Yeah, so this is all unpublished stuff that you'll probably see pop in the next few months or something like this. I don't know. Yeah, you get the idea. There's another one I really like from Burning Man.
Cool.
Man,
Oh, that's cool.
man, you really.
Do you process chronologically, or are you talking about how you pick the photos to post, or how you process?
I think both.
Both. I process them randomly over the last 5 years, and I post randomly over the last 5 years.
Is that what you do, Thomas?
Well, I try to process. I'm 2 years behind on my processing. I try to process as I go, but I'm stuck in like January 2010 right now.
You're behind, but do you still go in order of taken?
But for publishing, no. Publishing is like totally
No,
random.
processing.
You know what I do? I'll jump like ahead. Like I just shot St. Louis a couple weeks ago, and I shot this botanical garden, which is just fantastic. It's the best botanical garden in the United States. And so I wanted to process that kind of right away. Plus I want to get some St. Louis photos into the mix because I'm trying to shoot the 100 largest American cities. So I'm kind of jumping ahead, and I was in St. Louis for 5 days, 6 days, I think. And I'm going to process 1 day of St. Louis. But then I'm going to go back to the beginning. So sometimes I'll jump ahead, like our photo walk that we had in San Francisco. I process those because, people want to see pictures of themselves. And people wanted to see the picture that I took of Trey under the mom's tattoo sign.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to see that?
So sometimes if it's a timely event, like when the Oakland riots happened, I mean, obviously, something like that I'm going to process immediately. But if I'm just walking around San Francisco shooting street stuff, I'll just throw that in the back of the queue, and someday I'll get to it.
Do you find that like the pictures that you've taken kind of like lag behind as you've evolved as a photographer from your processing abilities? Like, God, I wish I had taken this picture this way, especially if it's like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, not as much the picture taking part of it. Certainly the processing, because the technology's gotten better and the tools have gotten better. And so I'll look at a photo I processed 4 years ago and I'll say, oh my God, if only I had Lightroom's noise reduction back then. And so some of that I'll reprocess even after I've processed it. But I like this idea. I have this idea about photos aging. And I don't know if anybody here follows William Eggleston or Stephen Shore or some of these photographers that were shooting in the 70s, 60s and stuff. But you look at their stuff now and it's like, wow. And a lot of it's the age, and they somehow figured out the nostalgia factor of their time. And so I like the idea that I can process all these photos, throw 9,000 in a bucket to be uploaded, and upload them over, 20, 30, 40, 50 years eventually. And someday, we'll look back and hopefully I captured something with some nostalgia from, 2011. So I like.
By the way, Eric, I like your Thundercats shirt there.
Trey, how much did that Thunderbolt thing cost?
Well, I got the extreme one, the 12 terabyte one, and it was $2,000. But there are lesser ones that don't cost as much.
Right.
Come on, man, you didn't get somebody to sponsor you for that?
No, I just bought it. It's usually if I want something, I just go get it. I do get a lot of free stuff. People send me free stuff all the time. I'm sure they send it. I'm sure the same thing happens to Thomas or other people. And but I usually tell them, I say, look, you're just sending this thing probably into a black hole, because I only review or comment on stuff that I actually use and like. Because I'm not really a review site and this sort of stuff. I figure that people that come to Stuck in Customs are busy and they don't have time to read, 30 reviews a month. So I usually do like one review every 2 months. But anyway, no, they didn't send me a freebie. It would have been nice if they had. It wouldn't have changed my opinion of it, because I love it either way, whether I buy it or whether it's given to me.
How much of a speed increase did you see from it?
Oh, it's lightning. It's like really, it's all in RAM. You know, if you do you have an SSD that you work off of now?
No, that's what I heard. I heard that they're going to put SSDs in the new iMacs, but I just got a brand new iMac, so it's not.
Well,
SSD
you'll know what I
right now.
mean. As soon as
You know, Trey, it's funny though because that
go ahead.
That 2000 Thunderbolt thing, they sent me 2 of those.
Well, you know, I don't have any.
Yeah, send some up my way.
Since you have an extra one.
So Trey, but you're working off of an SSD right now,
Yeah,
and
so
that's how
it
you're
works out.
seeing like the huge.
It's so fast, man. You don't even know. It's they used to say back in the day because I built computers and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm a nerd. And I always made the ultimate gaming PC and get my FPS as high as possible in Quake, and so I'm very sensitive to all this stuff. And it used to be they said, well, RAM was sort of your limiting thing. If you just had a lot of RAM, it would make everything run faster. And that was true. But this SSD, it sped up my workflow, I would say at least an order of magnitude. I would say 10 times. I have a giant Mac Pro computer here on my left, like a major workstation. And it has hard drives and a ton of RAM and everything. Then I have this Mac Pro laptop that has an SSD. And now I process everything on my Mac Pro laptop. Because this SSD is so fast because I'm jumping back and forth between Lightroom and Photoshop. And it's basically, I see very little difference between an SSD and RAM. It's all just there.
Well, that's what it
So
is.
the SSD is on
It's
your,
the same
on your
thing.
laptop.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Okay.
right.
You're right.
Trey, did you add that SSD or did you buy it from Apple with it already installed?
No, I bought it with it installed.
So are you getting like 10 gigs of speed on the?
I don't know what the
Thunderbolt?
speed is, but it's as fast as I need it. I just basically don't wait because now we live in a world where I assume that maybe you guys are like me, where you have a tab open and you go to a web page and you see that it's waiting to load. You're like, I'm not waiting. I'm going to this other tab, right? I jump to another tab. I do something where I don't have to wait. And it used to be that way with my computer. Like I would do something, I would start processing something. So, okay, I know that's going to take 15 seconds. I'm going to go check email or whatever. I don't know why we have to be so hyper efficient all the time, but I guess it's the way we are. But now with this SSD, there's none of that waiting. I just click on it and it opens. I sharpen something. I use noise reduction. It's just done. And that way I'm able to stay focused on a photo without getting distracted by jumping over to something else to suck up that extra 30 seconds where I used to be waiting for something.
The other thing is it's more indestructible. It has no moving parts in it, so it's more rugged.
That's what they say. It seems pretty solid so far.
You can run it on its side. You don't have to worry about anything gyroscopic effects on the drive or anything.
Yeah. Hard drives are junk these days, so I can't wait till SSDs are just the standard.
That's usually what I kill in a laptop is the drive.
Yeah, I can't. I've been through so many.
Hey Trey, here's another question for you from the chat room from Macro.
Yes, sir.
How often do you travel around the world, and do you just go on a whim, or is there a hidden plan behind it?
Oh well, I've only been around the world a few times, not that often. I don't know what that means, but I travel a lot. Sometimes the path happens to go around the world, but sometimes not. But it's not really a whim. It's not like I wake up and go, I'm going to drive to the Alton Airport today. It takes a bit of planning, But yeah, I have a list of about 70 places I want to go, and it's growing. You think as you start checking stuff off that the list would get shorter, but you keep hearing about other little secret places here and there. It's never ending. It's wonderful. So anyway, I have this list of 70 places I want to go. And, certain ones bubble to the top, and I think, okay, well, I'll go try to rope these 3 things in at the same time. And then, like, for example, I know I've never been to Istanbul. I really want to go. And I also know in Turkey they have these really cool rock formations that, like, nowhere else in the world. So I want to rope those 2 things in together. And then I know I have a friend in Jordan I'd like to go visit. I know that's close by, so maybe I'll do all that together. So I kind of loosely plan it, and maybe they take about 2 weeks of planning. I think they'll be much easier to plan now thanks to this app that we built, this Stuck on Earth thing. I can be much more efficient about the way I plan these things. And I won't have to go back to get a shot that I missed or whatever.
Do you have like 5 frequent flyer accounts you keep up to date all the time? You must accumulate a lot of miles.
Yeah, I have a lot, but the miles thing, I don't really get into it, frankly, because it's a silly game. It's something that just is. I think business travelers do it as like a little meta game on top of their life, because really, a plane ticket is not that expensive if you plan ahead. You think like, oh, I got all these miles, I get a plane ticket, but if you plan ahead, you can get a really good deal on a plane ticket almost anywhere in the world. So the amount of time and consternation people spend messing with their frequent flyer points, if you were to put a dollar value on that hour and then extrapolate it out to the cost of an airline ticket, you might be better just planning ahead on your trip and forgetting about the frequent flyer miles.
Hey, there's one person in the chat room that's asked like how you survive or how you get by on your own when you're traveling, like being worried about, just danger and things like that. So I thought that was a good question because it kind of
You're not getting hurt?
Oh, I don't worry. I'm not scared.
But have you ever run into any problems that
Well, you
kinda
run into
stand
problems
out?
all the time, but you just I don't know if I'm that kind of person or if I've become that kind of person, but I just don't have any fear, and I know I can get myself out of almost any situation. And I made that joke earlier about being like a spy. Really, that's kind of how I've become. You have to go into these places, and sometimes there's rough situations, sometimes there's unknowns. There's always unknowns, and I think I've just become very comfortable in this unknown space. It's a really kind of a nice place to be.
Do you try and find somebody that's local that you can trust and maybe ask them for help or advice or point the way, or depending on where you are?
Yeah, sometimes. About half the time I know locals, just through my network. I feel really lucky in that way. And then the other half the time I just like to be alone, because I do, and obviously Thomas and I and a lot of other people love having these photo walks and meeting everybody. It's great. It gives us energy and so on and so forth. And then also we might go out with some of these people from time to time to find locations and whatnot. And that's nice too, but that's a different kind of photography, because that person that we're with is often, just either just grilling us with questions all the time, which is fine. We're obviously happy to answer, and we do things like this. But it does kind of get in the way of the photography sometimes. Not always. It depends. But it's neither good nor bad. Anyway, that's a long way of saying that I like to spend a fairly good amount of time by myself too, and I just listen to music. And that's really when I take my best photos, when I'm alone and in sort of this right brain drift taking photos.
Yeah. I always get annoyed at how much I seem to stick out like a sore thumb in different countries and stuff with my camera over my shoulder on my tripod and stuff, and you just watch everybody like staring at it, and you can hear them saying like photo and all this stuff under their breath to the person next to them, and you just want to like blend in and not be seen sometimes.
No, James, that's not true. You want to. Who cares? Think about it like, I don't know, I'm a gamer or whatever, and I think about all these people, especially when I'm listening to music. I think about all these other people as like NPCs. They're these computer generated people that are following paths, and they kind of go about it, and they're there in my holodeck, sort of just like this filler. They're not even in my world. They might be saying, who knows what they're saying? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my own thing and forming my own patterns, and whatever they want to talk about is fine.
I'd still be worried that all the equipment that you have along with you is kind of attracting the wrong kind of person.
Well, maybe. I've only had a few little incidents, but I've gotten myself out of them. And I think it might be different if you're a woman, for sure. But I walk around. There's a certain kind of walk you can have. I'm not really big into martial arts, but I've done a bit of Aikido. And there's walks that you do and things, ways you hold yourself and the way you move with your tripod. And really, it looks like a weapon in the right circumstances. And I don't know. I'm not just saying I'm not scared. I'm just really not scared. And I'm not foolishly not scared. I'm not like blind to what is out there and people that want to do harm. I know it very well.
You can also minimize some of the more dangerous situations, like when I've been out shooting in West Oakland and stuff like that, or which are some rough neighborhoods, or like Detroit, a lot of the abandoned stuff, even in Detroit, where you got people that live in there. And I know photographers have been jacked in some of those places and they're stolen their gear. But, I think you're just smart. I mean, in things like that, you go with a group. So you've got 5 or 6 of you, and you kind of hang out together. And I shoot solo a lot too, like Trey. I mean, I think there's something about being out on the street and just, you've got, you're alone and you can think, and there's no pressure or expectation or time, or you can just kind of really focus on the photography. But then there's other places that you want to go. But I think it is smart to, put together, not a big group, not a big photo walk, but just, 3 or 4 good friends or something. And,
Right.
So Thomas, I'm going to be down in Zion right about the time that you're having your Death Valley photo get together. I'm not sure that I can make it, but I'll probably be leaving Zion around the Thursday or Friday, so it's about 6 hours away. So I may, if I can swing it, I may scoot by for a couple days. That'd be cool.
I hope you make it, Jim. That'd be fun. We got a good group coming out there. Death Valley, we've got, I think, 22 signed up now.
Yeah, I was reading your post on that. It sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good group, I think. A lot of Death Valley is going to be sunrises and sunsets, and I'm sure we'll figure out some interesting night shooting to do. And even during the day. I mean, I just over the last couple of years, I've done a lot of these trips where I'll just go someplace and shoot for 4 or 5 days, and I find that if I can get into that sort of attentive mode, I turn sort of the social media stuff off and don't interact there much and just focus on the photography, and it's great.
Mm-hmm. When are you guys planning on breaking it up into groups? Or are you going to all go out as one big group?
I think we just all go out together.
Yeah.
I mean, the desert's a big, huge place, and I mean, Luck certainly seems to know what he's doing out there, and it's got, he's been out there shooting before, and it's got a great map, and so, I mean, it's not so many people that we can't shoot, a landscape or a scene. So I figure we'll just all go out a lot together, and between now and when we go, we'll kind of put together an itinerary and say, okay, well, we're going to shoot this sunrise on Saturday, and this sunrise on Sunday, and this sunset on Saturday, and this is where we'll be. And people can go to all of it, part of it, a little bit of it, or skip some things, do other things. And so I don't know that we'll have everybody at everything, but I think we'll just kind of go with the flow, and then party all night long at the Atomic Inn.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Hey, Doug Fresh, how are you?
Doing very good. How are you doing this morning? Well, I guess it's not morning yet. Oh, yes, it is.
All relative. Where are you, Doug?
I'm in Iowa, along the Mississippi-Illinois border in the Quad Cities.
All right. I've been reading about the Mississippi almost every night. I've been reading my son, Huckleberry Finn.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have to kid it. I got to hit it. So I'm going to take off. But good hanging out, as usual.
Well, thanks for coming, Thomas. It was good to see you,
man.
as always.
Good seeing you, as always. So,
Thank
Count
you.
me in for the Death Valley thing. I'll see you there, man.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
Cool.
All
I
right.
want to go. That's
Sounds-
that's one of my daughter's birthdays. So
Bring her with you. The trip to Death Valley for her birthday present.
That would be
No.
good.
Yeah, I think she'd rather go to the big bouncy house and have ice cream.
I'm kidding. We'll bring a bouncy house to Death Valley. We'll put it up there at the Atomic Motel. We'll all play in it later on at night. Good.
Be all over that.
That's what she said. All right, I'm gonna over and out. See you guys later.
All right, see
Take
you
it easy,
later.
Thomas.
Hi.
I'm actually
Julie,
going to
are
take
you
off
in,
too because
Guelph?
I can no longer hear Trey, but I hear him through the live stream. So I'm going to sign off, and I'll stick on the live
Julie,
stream
can you
for a
hear
few more
me?
minutes.
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I lost audio
Yeah.
on Julia a while ago.
Are you up in Guelph?
Oh, I'm in. Can you hear me, Jim?
Yep.
Some people can't hear me. Okay.
I can hear you.
I'm in BC right now.
Oh, BC. Okay.
But yeah, I was in Cambridge.
Oh, okay. Oh, Cambridge. That's right. That was not too long ago, right? This summer.
Yeah. Well, I've
Yeah.
been. Yeah. Well, we were just in a hangout recently, but yeah. No, I've been out here for about 3 years now.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
There's a lot of pictures there on your wall.
That's just 1/14 of them.
Cool.
The chat room is extremely active. It's like a party.
They take it
Because
easy,
Lotus
Dave.
is now taking care of it.
Is Lotus in the chat room mixing it up?
She is. So is Jarvie.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
So, hey, Scott. Can you hear me, Scott?
Yes.
Okay. I'm heading down to Utah on probably next Friday. What was your plans? How much time do you have to?
Swing on by or let me know when you're. You just gonna go straight to the south of Utah?
Well, yeah, right from Great Sands, I'll head into the south of Utah, into Moab, and then Canyonlands, Dead Horse Point. Make my way over to Bryce, and then Zion.
Yeah, Trey. You can take your daughter to all sorts of places that have death in the name of the location.
Yeah, that'll fit well with her princess persona.
How old is she?
I don't know.
Oh.
No, she's turning 6.
Trey, you're living on the edge tonight.
Hey, how you doing, Nathan? Nathan, not from South Africa.
That's me. Yes.
Yes.
Are you a photographer, Nathan?
I'll say yes, but I don't make my primary living out of it.
Okay. You can say that you round up to photographer.
Yes, it's a self-paid for hobby. And so, who recognizes who this is?
Brian Rose.
That's Rose.
Yeah. I have all the Google Plus photos team from the Google.
Lotus is getting creative in the chat because the chat censors vulgarities. So she's coming up with alternatives that pass the test.
She knows every alternative to every vulgarity already.
It's quite funny.
Hey, Mark, where are you from?
Hey Trey, I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Cool.
Oh.
What do you do up there?
I'm a graphic and web designer and pretty avid photographer. Kind of new to the scene, but really enjoying it.
All right. It's fun, isn't it? James, when are we going to do this DPS thing for the HDR video tutorial?
We can do it whenever, man. Yeah.
Because DPS has a lot of ebooks now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're high priced. They're like $20, aren't they?
Yeah, well, he kind of goes the opposite route of you. Like, Because yours I like because the whole premise is that you write a short, 50-page book that you can read in a day, and it's priced cheap because you're only going to spend an afternoon reading it for the first time, and then you can go back and reference it whenever.
Because people are busy.
Right. So yeah,
Right.
his are much more expensive, and they're like actual books.
All right.
Some of them are hundreds and hundreds of pages. So.
Yeah. My theory is that nobody has time to read that nowadays.
Yeah.
Who has time to read a 200-page book on a certain subject of photography? Nobody. I know I'm on the edge of the bell curve and I'm really busy, but I think a lot of people are busy nowadays, and they just want 50 pages worth of really distilled, smart information.
No, I agree. It's nice to just because I've got all of your ebooks and all the ones that are I've got Lenashke's and Farachi's and everything, and yeah, if I ever need to go back to them, I can either just reference something in the book or I can just read the whole thing in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Shorter and to the point is much better to keep people's interest and creative juices flowing, I think.
Yeah, I think that it's the reason that so many books are 200 or 300 pages long, and I know this for sure because we did an old school book with Peach Pit that was in borders and stuff, is people just like to see a thick book on the shelf because that indicates some level of quality, which is it's completely ridiculous. And I know that most authors just have to fill up, 200 or 300 pages. They could have said what they needed to say in 50 pages in a very elegant way.
Well, and what's the percentage of what the mind actually takes away from that?
Brevity is the soul of wit.
Yeah. It goes back to like a poet says in 10 words what a writer says in 1,000. Yeah, with a poem we walk away with not only more experience and all that, but it's just I can't tell you that the last time I sat down and read through an entire book like just nonstop. But anytime I read a full book now, it takes me weeks and weeks because I have so much other things going on.
I'm gonna provide the other side of the coin here. I like when Trey's like telling his longer stories. I think I get more out of him. I think this whole movement towards brevity in photography is only good in certain cases, but it's made a lot of really lazy people that expect everything to come to them very, very easily, and that photography is just a few short words and some really easy tricks, and it can all be expressed really easily, and that they don't actually have to think things through. But on the other side, brevity does teach nicely sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, you're not going to learn everything you need to learn in photography by just reading 1 or 2 ebooks, but at least you have that one piece of information in a little bite-sized morsel that you can like fully soak up everything in it, Yeah, and I mean, it also depends on the topic. Some topics aren't suited for a 50-page ebook. Like you certainly couldn't write a 50-page ebook on learning Photoshop and walk away with very much useful information. That really needs to be like an exhaustive topic,
Yeah.
Brevity shouldn't be confused with conciseness.
Right. But anyways, yes, Trey, let's get that going. So I'll shoot you an email and get everything lined up that we need to.
Cool.
Well, guys, I'm going to scoot. Thank you for everything, Trey, and everybody else who was in the room tonight.
Julie.
Thank you.
Nice
Get
seeing
my
you. I'm
spot
about
to
to head out
somebody else.
myself.
I finally got your audio back, Julie.
Oh, yay.
Just
as
in
I'm
time for her to
leaving.
leave.
Yeah. It's been doing all night to different people.
I try and jump in on these whenever I can. I'm trying to soak up as much information as I possibly can. So these, I'm really enjoying the photography hangouts.
Yeah, you've been in a couple of ours. So it's
Yeah.
good to see you again.
Yeah. Well,
Me
thanks
too. That's
again,
why I keep
everybody.
doing them. All right, cool. See ya, Julie.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
And thanks again, Keith, for everything. I'm gonna bolt myself.
Okay.
It's good seeing everybody. You guys don't have to leave just 'cause I'm leaving. Obviously, you guys all like photography. Please stay. Jarvie's entertaining.
Yes.
You're all entertaining. So anyway,
Take it easy, Trey.
all right, bye guys. Have a good
Good
one.
night, Trey.
See you, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thank you, Trey.
Sure. Bye.